Nathanius praised StarCraft 2v2 player got caught of cheating. And we're gonna watch this bitch really slow, because this is gonna be for the YouTube video. Okay, all looks normal. You know, one of the things I noticed, you see how late, did you see how late he was on that reactor even though he had the gas? So, typically what that would mean is, because now we have the knowledge that PureLegacy is a map hacker, what he's doing right there is he's probably using camera lock, and he's panning around the map, even though the replay shows that he's centered on that location. In other words, it's masking his movements around the map. GM player with 200 APM is not going to be overgassed 14 or 18, or what does it say? 18 before he drops the reactor with this kind of a build. I don't give a shit who you are. So, and this is, of course, all we already know that PureLegacy is map hacking. Now I'm just kind of analyzing things that really kind of just look shady, like that, for example. I mean, who the fuck overgasses like that? He's sitting there doing nothing. He had like 3 SCVs selected, right? So he's probably using camera lock right there. So he groups up his Reapers right there. Scouts the army. Looks normal, right? Everything looks okay. Pans over the fog. You saw that. He pans over. Look, did you see that? Let me go back and watch this again. Watch this. So he bunches them up. He goes in for a kill, but units are there. So he's trying to sell us that he isn't cheating. Now watch this. Pans back into the fog. Doesn't wait for his Reaper to heal. And he goes in for the Reaper kill. Now, let's go over why that doesn't make sense. So he just quite literally had vision of those units and where they were. He pans into the fog. And he doesn't wait for his Reaper to heal. And then he goes in to an isolated Reaper. Well, why do you think that is? Well, it probably has something to do with the fact that Purple has decided to move his troops down to this location. So he can run in here and snipe a Reaper. It's amazing the things that you can catch after you know they're cheating. Hell, he even commits. Look at him. He knows exactly where that army is, and that's why he's chasing that shit. I never would do something like this. Ever. And he magically gets away.
부속 건물 완성.
Okay, moving along. Let's see what else we can catch. They're both cheating. I don't know, just leave the game, Angel.
건설로봇 준비 완료.
I don't know. Practice X is a map hacker, I don't know why you bother.
업그레이드 완료.
Every time he every single... Are you starting to see a pattern here? Every single time he goes up into their fucking base, their units are out of position. Are you seeing this? Because this is what it looks like to me. Man, I will tell you, dude, it is so hard to get entries, to get good entry points the way that this guy is doing it. And you want to know something else? You remember, I'm sure some of you remember me talking about this, but you know, for a long period of time, I've played against PureLegacy, and he always somehow manages to get away with these 3 command center builds. And I could never figure out why. Like, there have been so many different... The reason I don't do it is because there have been so many games where I have lost because I've gone for this 3cc build, right? But when you watch PureLegacy and you play PureLegacy, he always goes 3 command center and he never loses with it. Ever! So that in and of itself is shady. Now, of course, we already know he's cheating, but that's just an observation that just kind of dawned on me. How does he always get away with 3cc yet he's always safe with it? He always has the right amount of stuff. His units are always in the right position, and he doesn't die. So that's just an observation. Not really pertinent to the game here. I don't know anything about that drama, bro, so that's... You're speaking Banglage or something to me. Now, so, of course, at this point, we already know he's cheating, so now we can start to make sense of moves like this. Where he just happens to pan over here, and this just happens to be at a point where the barracks is lifted, and that's when he decides to run in. Watch this. See that? And then, of course, these little moves right here. So, with this is a really, really good example of somebody who is very good at hiding the fact that they cheat. Okay? So that little move right there where he runs in here, he's just trying to tell the story that he's not cheating. That's all he's doing. Even though we already know that he is, now we can break it down more logically. The reason he ran up there to get the information he was looking for, which in this case was the starport, he ran in there just far enough to take enough damage and actually get the info. So, moving along. Now, okay, so let's see. What does he say here? So right here, he pans into the fog, and then So he sees a starport. But what I want you to notice about this pan is that you saw him pan down here and then move up this way. So what he sees here, and this is why I don't think he's using some kind of a production tab hack, more like a map hack. Because here are these Hellions parked right next to the starport, and this starport looks like it's building a dropship, right? This, if you aren't cheating and you scout something that looks like this, like just this area of the map, you're thinking drop. But he didn't see this. In fact, he was panned right over there. And the only reason that he was able to get away with pulling a fast one on me, with his little comment that he makes here, is because he panned over purple starport. And so he says he's dropping hells. And then he pings the map. Now, one of the things that I would like to note about this ping is that he waited until purple actually loaded up a drop and waypointed it across the map. Just saying. So, moving along, he tells his partner to be careful. And then he says, stay in your net, I got main. Now, of course, coming from a decent player, the most common spot to drop would be in this location, right? Okay. Now, being a good high-level player with a firm understanding that this, after having all your shit scouted, and yet you're still going for this drop, this is the most common place you would drop. But having taken all that damage from the early Reaper pressure, the Hellions that ran in and killed a couple of shit, this drop is very unreasonable and very unlikely. It is. So and I mean, you can see his units they're all damaged. So this drop, if I was playing in this game, I never would have expected this to happen. Based on how the game has evolved, I never would have expected this at all. And furthermore, if I were to do a drop like this, I certainly wouldn't go to the most obvious location. But okay, that's fine. Moving along, moving along. So as you can see on the minimap, he pings these two locations, and when you do this, you are convinced, or you know for sure, that a drop is coming there. Now, who is to say that a drop didn't just decide to go up this way and drop your main, right? Well, because PureLegacy map hacks, and he knows that there's a drop headed in this direction, and it's getting really fucking close, he decides to ping this location and this location, and then, to top it off, what does he decide to say? Let's not forget that he's also panning in this area. And now he's telling his ally to move his Marines from this location to the outskirts of his base. All the while there is a drop hilariously close to his base.
보급고가 부족합니다.
So moving along, the drop gets spotted. Purple controls well. And of course PureLegacy's army is also ready to intercept. And this is off of the presumption that this drop is, and it is a presumption, it's not a scout, that that drop is going to take place at that exact location. So moving along, we see him send a Banshee out, and this is where it starts to get really funky. Now, I will tell you that, okay, so as you can see here, he starts to click around. You see these 3 clicks? Let's not forget that he's panned. Once again, he's panned right over top of this unit. And there happens to be a turret in a place that literally makes no sense, and I've never seen somebody put. In the years that I have played this game, and how many times I've played this map, I have never seen a missile turret in this area. I'm not kidding. This is the first time I've seen it. And I've played a lot of games. But anyway, so he clicks around, and then so he's panned in this area, right? He was just panned in this area, and so then he decides to not go here, but go here, which just happens to be in a spot that is quite literally in between 2 missile turrets, and he can cloak and run away from this Viking very, very easily. That's a very good escape route. But okay, moving along. Yeah, no, and it's exactly as Spartan Hailer says. This isn't proof. None of this is proof of cheating. I've already watched this replay. For those of you who didn't see this earlier, I broke this down for about an hour, and I finally found PureLegacy cheating. It's going to come up, don't worry. I'm just doing this segment of the stream for a YouTube video. I'm currently creating a YouTube video. Anyway, none of this is proof. Nothing here is proof that PureLegacy is cheating. None of it. Not a single movement in this game is proof of cheating. Everything has been justified. Just to throw that out there. None of this is proof. So, okay. He just happens to get out of the range of this missile turret. Alright, whatever. He goes back to his base, and he misclicks. Okay? He runs his Banshee right over all of this stuff, and what he's doing is he's trying to sell the story once again that he isn't cheating. I mean, who the fuck does this, right? Who the fuck runs their Banshee over a bunch of Marines like this? Not somebody who's cheating. But that reaction time, though. Dude, he fucking snapped over there and he saved that Banshee. And that bitch is right as rain right now. So, moving along, he showcases his terrible control. And then we get into this area of the game where he looks legit. 100% legit. Nothing wrong with PureLegacy. Things go wrong and blah 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 blah. But let's watch it. Because I haven't watched this segment of the replay on slow-mo, so I am not particularly sure. So as you can see, a drop goes off, and need I remind you, he was fucking he was right and ready for that drop, wasn't he? Pulled his workers back almost instantly as that stuff was unloading, right?
기지가 공격받고 있습니다.
So he takes quite literally next to no damage from this drop.
부속 건물 완성.
건설로봇 준비 완료. 건설로봇 준비 완료. 쓸어버리겠어.
And pans into the fog of war for I guess he was just looking at his buddy's ping. Doesn't show any type of cheating. We don't see any cheating.
건설로봇 준비 완료.
Okay, so let's break this part down. He says, careful for your net, don't go. Alright? Now, you, my friend, are in a timer. Because your ally has only just now thrown down a third. Okay? And because this third base is so late, you know, we're talking 11 minutes into the game, you're not really setting up for a macro game, okay? So, with the units that Blue has created, you kind of need to make something happen with this because of how late Blue's expansion is. Now, he tells his ally, don't go. In other words, what he's saying is that he thinks that there is a drop coming on this side of the map. But, because we already know PureLegacy is cheating, the reason that he said this was not because he was worried about his partner's natural, but when in fact he was afraid of his natural getting dropped by this drop.
건설로봇 준비 완료. 건설로봇 준비 완료.
So of course PureLegacy's units are in position for this drop. He's not going to take too much damage from it. He lost 2 SCVs, of course.
건설로봇 연료.
Doing pretty good for himself.
부속 건물
Pretty damn good saturation.
건설로봇 준비 완료. 건설로봇 준비 완료.
Now, from this point on in the replay, I want you guys to take note of PureLegacy's scans. These scans is what I have coined Practice X scans. And if you don't know who Practice X is a map hacker. Got banned off of Diablo 3 scene, which if you don't know what that is, you can go look at it yourself. I'm not going to get into it here. But you will notice throughout the course of this game, we have what on our hands are called Practice X scans, where you scan and you don't miss. Ever. But take notes and just watch.
건설로봇
Now, here's a fishy little pan. Now, you know, typically, when you're going to scan a base, you don't really have too much of a reason to be idling in the fog. I don't know. I don't usually do that. I don't know any good player that does. If you're going to scan a third, you're going to scan a third. But so he does this fishy little pan, and then he snaps over to the left, and then he scans. Now, the reason he did this is because he panned into the fog of war, and he identified that there was a third there, and then when he moved his camera over to the left, he scanned right on top of the army. That was the information that he was truly trying to obtain, not the fact that there was a third there, but he wanted to see the army. Now, Crossdays, if you're just tuning in, we've already confirmed that PureLegacy is a hacker. You'll see it coming up. But this is, I'm creating a YouTube video and getting and showing you guys how a map hacker thinks. It's coming up though, you'll see it. But he does cheat. But all of this said, all up until 12 minutes and 58 seconds into this game, there is no confirmation. I can't say one way or the other whether this guy is cheating based on what we've seen. There is no confirmation. Can't say anything. As far as I'm concerned, after having watched this for 12 minutes and 58 seconds, if I didn't already know he was cheating, he's not cheating. But anyway, so that scan, he pans into the fog, he goes over and looks at the army, and that's the information that he wanted his ally to obtain. He already had the info, but he wanted his ally to obtain that information. And that's why he scanned there. Not that he didn't know that there was a third there, but so that his ally could see that. So, moving along.
건설 로봇이 공격받고 있습니다.
Another drop goes off, he's completely out of position for it. In other words, he's trying to sell you that he isn't cheating. And we have yet another Practice X scan. Do you see this scan? This scan is right on top of his army. So, how many scans have we gone through? We've gone through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 scans that have gone down in this game from PureLegacy, and out of all 5 of those scans, he has landed every single one of them. Unfortunately, that's not proof of cheating. But it is something to note. So, moving along, getting ready to make an attack. Boy, he sure is right and ready for every single thing that happens, isn't he? You saw how fast he snapped to his units and was ready for that engagement? Yeah, he's been doing that a lot. And while this scan is justified, it still doesn't change the fact that we are now 6 of 6 on the scan-o-meter, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. So, moving along. Taking more damage from drops. It's all good. You don't look like you're cheating. Okay, you have terrible macro. Congratulations. Now, if you guys haven't been watching this replay, I will enlighten you that this isn't the first time where PureLegacy has panned into the fog like that, and he just happens to be hovering over their fucking army. Let's go back and watch that, because I feel like that's necessary. Actually, on GG Tracker, it shows his spending skill is plat. Just saying. Let's watch that again. So here he's about to make an attack. You have terrible macro, congratulations. Alright, so here's the attack, and now here is his camera. As you can clearly see, let's go ahead and alter my overlay here so that you guys can see this. There we go. Yeah. Well, I'll just take. You're gonna be up there probably the whole month, Vanguard. So I'll just take that down for now. Yeah, let's move the chat down a little bit Okay, so as you can see, this is his camera. This is the player camera. This is PureLegacy's vision. We have this selected. We're on PureLegacy. And he pans just like this. Now, I don't think you don't really need to be Einstein to figure out that that was quite literally a pan right over their army. Now, when I do stuff like this, I don't scroll down here and then go up here and then attack here. That's not how I play. If I'm going to make an attack, the first indicator pops up here, or it pops up here, or here, or here, or wherever. I don't pan into the fog. Maybe sometimes I've done it, but not very often at all. Just making an observation here. It doesn't prove cheating. Unfortunately, it doesn't. But moving along. And let's also not forget, we have a nice little ping. You see this little ping on the minimap here? Where does that look like to you? Boy, that ping sure looks pretty damn close to their fucking army. Just saying. Unfortunately, it doesn't prove cheating. So, moving along. And what do we have here? This is the 8th time PureLegacy that you have scanned, and you have landed right on top of their shit. These are some Practice X scans if I ever saw them. But anyway, unfortunately, it doesn't prove cheating. But moving along. Oh, that was a nice little pan. Did you see that? Let's go back and watch that. 14... Watch this. So the first time he pans right over the army. And then he pings it. Hey buddy, their troops are there. So he sees this. Now, why would you deem it necessary to go further into the fog? Watch. See how he scans here? And then he pans right here. Now, this is his camera view, and if you were going to try and make the argument that he wanted to look at what he scanned, don't you think that he would be up here and not right here where the rest of the army is coming? Unfortunately, this isn't proof of him cheating. It just looks a little sketchy. So, moving along. And as we can see, PureLegacy's control is about as useful as a whore in church. And we have another scan. So that's 9 out of 9, where he hasn't missed a scan. Now, this quite obviously isn't cheating. He just wants to see what the reinforcements are, right? But it doesn't change the fact that he still has yet to miss a scan. We're 10 out of 10 by now. And so now, what do we have here? We have a bunch of pings on the right side of the map. And we have what appears to be a pan into the fog of war, and there just happens to be a fucking base there. And so, unfortunately, it's not proof of cheating. Just looks a little sketchy. But how many sketchy things have we come across by now? Well, let's see. We've come across about 9 or 10 sketchy things that really don't make sense. And certainly, I don't think you would see a legitimate top 50 Grandmaster player playing in a manner like this. Just an observation. So, anyway, moving
동맹이
along.
공격받고 있습니다.
Oh! What was he looking at? I don't think I need to go back and watch that again. You just saw that nice little pan over the tank movement. Okay, so moving along. Nice little pan there. What was he looking at? He was looking at the position of these tanks. Unfortunately, not proof of cheating. Okay, so moving along. He's going to take his fourth. Oh! So he was looking at this stuff, or what appears, okay? It looks like he was looking at this stuff. So he got the information here, and then he decides to scan here. And so now we are on our 11th scan, where PureLegacy literally has not missed a single one, and it lands right on top of the important units, right on top of everything that is pertinent to the positioning of your troops. But not proof of cheating, unfortunately. Moving along. We got some standard macro play. And that kind of looked like a camera lock to me. I mean, you know, it seemed to me like you've got some other things to do rather than just, you know, fucking chilling over your units at 17 minutes into the game. Yeah, maybe he had to finger his butthole, twirl it around a little, and call himself Stink Finger Sally. Or perhaps he needed to pick his nose and eat his boogers. Or maybe he spilled his Sprite. Probably not, but unfortunately not proof of cheating. So, moving along, we got starports. Now, let's take a look at the starport timings here. Okay, here's the starports. Do these guys have starports? Okay, we got one. Okay, so we don't actually have any starports going down here. So, he's trying to get ahead of the game. He wants to have that Sky Toss composition ready, right and ready, right? Or not Sky Toss, but Sky Terran. Because that is the late game comp. Now, unfortunately, it's no sign of cheating, because, well, he's about to be up to 8 gases, and this is a pretty good time to throw him down. But just making an observation that this is giving him yet another edge in our nice little TT versus TT. So, moving along. Ooh, that's yet another scan. So we have 11 scans in a row where you, PureLegacy, have scanned right on top of their army. Unfortunately, not proof of cheating. Moving along.
업그레이드 완료.
and another scan, which is justified because there are some troops sitting inside of the ring of the first scan. Doesn't change the fact that we now have 12 scans that are completely accurate. Just saying. Not proof of cheating, but a little sketchy. Moving along. Showcasing his terrible macro. Macros poop. You have no army. And... okay, his buddy scans. His buddy scans because he just scanned the army and maybe he didn't look at it. But anyway, just making an observation here. Dude's 18 minutes into the game and his army supply is a steaming pile of shit. Moving along. Yeah, maybe if I make more SCVs, that'll help win me the game. It's not like I don't have 5 orbitals. Anyway, moving along. Now, this segment of the replay is where we prove that Pure Legacy is 100,000 million gazillion bajillion % map hacking. Okay? This is it. We're getting there. Okay, he's gonna take his 5th. Now, want to know what I find weird about that scan? Bro, you're not even... bro, you're not even looking at your scan. When he scanned, he was looking down here. And then, as you can see, he went over here. Bro, you're not even looking at your scan. What the fuck are you doing? Anyway, that's our 13th scan in a row where we have landed directly on top of your opponent's shit. Okay? So, moving along. And so then he scans not only this army that is in quite an odd, queer, whatever the fuck you want to call it, position. He also scans right on top of Purple's army. So that's, what do we have now? We have 14 scans in a row, and every single one of them have landed right on top of their fucking troops. Unfortunately, it's not proof of cheating. Moving along. So we've got Vikings coming along. Now, I'm relatively certain that... okay, never mind. I was going to say something that didn't make sense. Never mind. Moving along. So there's the scan. Excuse me. That's the 15th scan where you've landed on the troops and you're obtaining the unit pathing. 15. Okay, moving along. Maybe he has a bee in his room. And we have yet another scan. That's the 16th scan in a row where he has landed, quite literally, on top of the troops. Now, something I would like to note of this particular scan, and why I tried to make a little sense out of what happens next, but typically, when you scan like this, okay, what you're looking for is you're looking for lack of dropships. You are looking for lack of Hellions. You are looking for anything that might be missing. Now, unfortunately for Pure Legacy, with a scan like this does not reveal shit. What I see is I see a bunch of Hellions, and there could be stuff back here that I don't know. Not enough to justify what he does next.
업그레이드 완료.
So, moving along, he asks if you're enjoying yourself.
부속 건물 완성.
And then he says, "Kid, I will rape you in 1v1." What are we talking about? Brood War Bloodbath or something?
업그레이드 완료.
Now, you can see, here's his little click. And he selects all. And no, I don't mean 8. I don't mean 5. I don't mean 12. I mean every single one of his Hellions. And he clicks. Now, do you see the series of clicks here? You see this click, and then you see this click. Now, this is how a player reacts when they are wigging out, or they know something is coming. I've played a lot of StarCraft, I've seen a lot of replays, and the pattern is the same with every player. When they know something is coming, they wig the fuck out just like this. So, as you can see, he's trying very hard to be subtle about it. Moving his troops over there real quick. It's just a random movement. But then he quickly gets away from that area and onto a different place, such as the main CC. Okay, all right, you're not cheating. Moving along. You just thought it was a good idea to move all of your Hellions to the left side of the map. So, unfortunately, at this point, there is no proof of cheating. However, here, ladies and gentlemen, is 100% proof that Pure Legacy is map hacking. Now, remember what I said 20 seconds ago about that scan. Didn't reveal shit. Now, watch how he controls here. Now, what do we see any type of vision on this side of the map? Fuck, they haven't even scout. Look at the fog here. They haven't even scouted anything on this side of the map. Nothing. The fog isn't even revealed. You can tell by looking at the minimap and seeing the shade of color. So if you have scouted an area on the map, it's going to look revealed, like this. If you haven't scouted a part of the map, it's going to look dark, like this. So, here comes his Hellions. They haven't scouted anything on this side of the map. There is no sensor tower detecting anything on the left side of the map, and watch how he controls. His first click is up here. His second click is here. His third click is here. Now, allow me to explain to you what he's doing here. Because I know I've got Gold League viewers and Silver League viewers and Bronze League viewers and even Diamond League viewers who don't understand this concept, so let me explain it to you. When you go for an engagement, especially if it's Hellion versus Hellion, what you are looking for is you are looking for your units to be fanned out. You do not want them clumped up. You do not want them in a line. Well, a line's okay, but more importantly, you're looking for an arc, right? So as you can clearly see in Pure Legacy's control here, that is what he is looking for. That is what he is trying to obtain with these types of movements. Okay, so moving along. So at this point, he has obtained that movement or that arc that he was looking for. And so now he starts to click randomly on the left side of the map, as you can see showcased right here. Now, having no vision of fuck all and doing a move like this and clicking in an area like this can only mean one thing. It can mean only one thing. And that one thing is that there are units inside of this fog of war. Ta-da! Which, you don't have vision of Pure Legacy. You are cheating. You are hacking. You're a piece of shit. And this proves it. Yep. Was that his scan? Yeah. That's number 16. Where you have scanned the movement of an army "16 scans in a row, where you have scanned right on top of the army, its movements, no matter where they were. At this point in the game, don't you guys think that this type of an army would be, you know, kind of like sieged up here, you know, have the watchtower, like maybe defending this base over here? Why in the world would there be tanks here? Why would his army be right here? It's because we just proved Pure Legacy is map hacking. Now, if this little arc up here and this movement wasn't enough for you, that's okay. There's more. Don't worry. Anyway, moving along. So, at this point, 19 minutes and 36 seconds into the game, what have we established? We've established that Pure Legacy has scanned his opponents 17 times and has not missed a single one. We have found that in this last engagement, he was creating this arc with no vision on this side of the map, no idea that this was coming, yet he sets up for this attack perfectly. So, Pure Legacy is map hacking, and this is proof. But let's keep watching and see if there's anything else that we can find.
업그레이드 완료.
Okay, is there anything here? Nope, nothing here. Moving along, he's taking his 6th base because his macro is so good.
광맥이 고갈되었습니다. 광맥이 고갈되었습니다.
And he's moving into Ravens, of course, just, you know, being ahead of the game. Now, let's take a look at these turrets. Now, no, actually, I'm not in this game. This was a replay submitted by a viewer. I'm not in this game. Somebody wanted me to analyze this, and this is what I found. Anyway, so the first thing he did here, as you saw in the replay, he grabbed his units, he moved them over a little bit, and then he came up here, and he builds 2 more turrets. Okay. Alright. It wouldn't particularly look weird, except for the fact that there just happens to be a drop coming your way. Now, after having cleared all of these Hellions on this side of the map, you would think it might be a good idea your opponents know where your army is. It might be a pretty good idea to get them back to the bulk of your army. Well, the reason Pure Legacy doesn't do that is because he knows that there is a drop coming this way. Now, you could make the argument that he can see this. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, he can't. This drop cannot be seen because when you are building a structure, you do not have vision this far out. So the reason why he keeps his troops here and the reason why that he builds these turrets up here is because there is a drop coming to that base. And these turrets, I don't think I need to remind a lot of you, but these turrets render these drops very ineffective, especially if there are a shit ton of blue flame hellions sitting in this space. So anyway, moving along. And so we have yet another scan, the 18th scan, that has landed directly on top of their army. That's just an observation, doesn't mean cheating, just saying. And he was right and ready for this drop. Because he didn't do what a normal player would do after a planetary finishes, move his troops back to the bulk of his army.
기지가 공격받고 있습니다.
So, moving along.
건설 로봇이 공격받고 있습니다.
Now, for me, the most obvious part in this replay was how he controlled his Hellions for that Hellion run by. But this is what happens next is the second most damning evidence that he's cheating. And of course, you just saw him pan into the fog right over these Hellions, which he had no vision of. Now, the reason I believe, and this is just speculation, I don't know if it's true or not, but the reason I believe PureLegacy took his Hellions and ran back up like that was because, even though he didn't have, he had vision of the one dropship that went to the left, right? I think that he knew that there were drops up here, because when those dropships ran away, I mean, it really looked like they were getting the fuck out of there. Like, who the hell is going to drop on top of this type of a Hellion count? Nobody's going to do that. They're just going to go away and they're going to come back later or something, right? But I think the reason why PureLegacy ran up this way was because he knew, and you saw him pan over the Hellions just now, over these Hellions, is because he was afraid that these drops over here were going to link up with this Hellion attack. That's what I think. But either way, you saw him pan over those Hellions, and that is yet another mark of cheating. Okay, moving along.
연구 완료. 광물이 부족해 있습니다.
Is there somebody... Wait. There's somebody in the chat trying to make the argument that that Hellion run by was spotted by the tower? No? Bro, the Hellions came this way. And before that Hellion attack took place, I showed you that there was literally no vision. The fog was like this. Okay, I gotta go back since somebody's making an argument here. Hang on. I mean, I got into detail about how the fog works right before that happened. So you see this? There is no vision. There is no vision of this at all. What vision do they have of this? Oh, Shift Z. I didn't know that. So, what vision of this do they have? But guys, it doesn't. They first of all, they don't have vision of this attack. There's no vision of this. And you want to know what's funny? Pure Legacy scan. Watch this. Here, I'll break it down for you even further. Watch this. Okay, so let's break it down. So look. So this is the only vision that he obtains before that Hellion run by. Okay? This is it. There's nothing else. What does he see? He sees all of these Hellions that are fucking idling inside of his main army. Now, okay, so at this point, at 1848, he no longer looks at his scan. He no longer looks at it. Has no vision of anything. See that? That was his camera.
업그레이드 완료.
And here is when he sends the Hellions far after the scan. This is when this guy sends his Hellions up this way. Let's take a look at the timing of the two. Now, you explain to me how this is how this is not cheating. Here's the vision of Pure Legacy. As you can see, this light area is what has been scouted. And this dark area is what has not been scouted. Light, dark, light, dark, light, dark. But frankly, that's irrelevant. I mean, it's quite obvious he's already cheating from this point on. But this, because they have no vision at all of this side of the map, what he does with his Hellions here is cheating. It is map hacking. You can't make the argument that it's not. Watch. You see how he's clicking? What he's trying to obtain here is he's trying to obtain an arc. And the reason that he's trying to obtain this arc is because there are fucking Hellions coming towards his shit. And if that wasn't damning enough, who micros their Hellions like this with no vision? Not me. And who the fuck? First of all, you have no reason to be controlling your Hellions like this at this point in the game. You haven't scouted the left side of the map. You've got no reason to be doing this. And then, who in the world, after all of that, would click in literally the perfect spot for a concave? Now, there are some of you actually trying to argue with this. Am I getting my facts straight here? You are trying to argue that this isn't cheating. He's even A-moving. He's not right-clicking, he's A-moving. Are there some of you actually trying to argue that this is not cheating? I'm serious. Shut up, President. No, I read some stuff in the chat. People were trying to make, like, saying that Pure Legacy had vision with the tower, which doesn't even extend this far. I was reading the chat. I'm not stupid. Okay. So, anyway. If you guys are just tuning into the stream, I'm done for the day. You guys can see the uptime in the top left. I'm doing a replay analysis of Pure Legacy being a cheater. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm not playing StarCraft. I'm analyzing this replay that a viewer sent me and proving that Pure Legacy is cheating. So anyway, just wanted to get that out of the way. He is cheating. This is 100% map hack. You can't make an argument with this. So anyway, so we'll continue on. And if this wasn't enough, we've got more. Don't worry.
업그레이드 완료. 광맥이 고갈되었습니다. 광맥이 고갈되었습니다.
He didn't have vision of the tower. I'm not... What are you talking about? I fucking literally just showed you, Pad. He did not have vision with the tower of that Hellion run by. The Hellions came from this location. And up this way. And the tower only extends to here. So, you're wrong. He's cheating. Anyway, moving along.
부속 건물 완성.
The second? Okay, we're actually jumping into the second Hellion run by. Let's see if he sees it. Because maybe you're right. Maybe I missed it. But, I mean, it doesn't matter, dude. Everything he does is cheating from here on out. So anyway, so this scan was the 19th scan where it's landed on the army.
기지가 공격받고 업그레이드 완료.
Okay, yeah. So he actually did see this. So Pat is right. Pat isn't wrong. He did see this. He could see it the second Hellion run by on the tower. So that's fine. That's not proof of cheating. But still, he is cheating. That Hellion concave with the unscouted Hellion attack, yeah, that's cheating. That's not an argument to be made. But you can make an argument there. But still, he's cheating. Anyway, moving along.
깜깜하기 가동.
And I mean, you can just tell by his indicator that he is out microing those Hellions as those Hellions are attacking. So he is cheating. That right here is definitely proof of cheating for me, even if he saw them or not. Anyway, moving along. So he finds the drop, of course. Not really cheating though, because we already knew it was there.
연구 완료.
21 scans in a row on top of the army, seeing everything that he needs to see. Anyway, moving along. And, okay, this right here is the second confirmation of him cheating. Now, if you were going to make the argument that he was actually scanning the space, he would use the minimap and he would scan, like, you know, kind of like in this area. He wouldn't be scanning right where a drop is about to happen. The reason he picked to scan here was because these dropships were here. That's why he did it. Let's watch that again. So 2133.
연구 완료. 광물이 부족했습니다.
So, okay, moving along. 21 scans on top of the army throughout the course of the game. And then check out this snapshot. Ready for this? BAM! Oh shit, I missed it. BAM! That was quite literally a snapshot right on top of this drop. Now, some people, when I analyzed this before, they were trying to make the argument that this is like right out of the ring and it's not really sketchy. Yeah, dude, this is sketchy as fuck. Who the fuck, if you're gonna scan this space, why would you scan here? Especially right below the sensor tower that's about to get... It's about to go into the sensor tower, so why would you scan right there? It doesn't make sense. It's a snap scan, and the reason he scanned here... When he scanned, you can see the little the bar above the dropship. When he did that scan is like at the exact moment that he clicked the dropship and boosted it. So what the point that I'm making here is that those dropships were idle. They were idle. They were just chilling there, and that's why he scanned here. He wasn't looking for a base. He was looking for these dropships. Guaranteed. Let's watch it again, because I kind of messed up.
업그레이드 완료.
Okay, moving along, blah 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 blah.
연구 완료. 광물이 부족했습니다.
And he does it so fast, dude. It's so hard to fucking like catch it. So 20, 21 scans right on top of the army. "22 scans. Now, look, this is his camera angle, okay? The scan, if you look on the minimap, you can see that the scan has already gone down. So, using the minimap, I'll be the first to tell you, this is really hard to do. Using the minimap, we have our 23rd scan on top of their army that just happens to give him all the information that not only him, but his partner needs. Bam. Right on top of the dropships. So, PureLegacy is a cheater. We confirmed that with the Hellion movements, and we've also confirmed that with this fucking scan. Not to mention all the 22 ones prior to this. Anyway, moving along. Okay, PureLegacy, you're cheating. What else do you do for us?
광맥이 고갈되었습니다.
Okay, so here, he says, get air. Okay, well, let's see why that might be. Oh, okay. Now it makes sense. And when I analyzed this before, I didn't actually see this. But the reason that he tells his partner to get air is because we have this, but we also have this. Now, Here's their vision. They haven't even scouted this fucking area. And watch what he says. What does he say here? Mass Vikings. Now, I don't think I need to tell any of you that mass Vikings are the counter to battlecruisers. Which, at this point in the game, just started! So, this is a third confirmation that PureLegacy is map hacking. Or, I don't even know if it is map hacking. Well, yeah, it's map hacking, but he may also have production tab. Because this, the timing of this is ludicrous! The BCs just start, and he tells his ally to go mass Vikings! That's bullshit! What the fuck? Anyway, moving along.
동맹 기지가 공격받고 있습니다.
I think it might be production tab right there, dude, because I really think he was looking for the BCs there. I think that's what he was doing. Anyway, moving along.
동맹 기지가 공격받고
What do we have? What do we have? What more can you show us, Pure Shitty? Scanning on top of the army. Camera lock. Quite obviously. Now, this is new to me, I think. Okay. Let me go back and watch this real quick.
동맹 기지가 공격받고 있습니다.
Let's see. So, now watch this. So he
동맹 기지가 공격받고 있습니다.
does this get spotted?
공격받고 있습니다.
Okay, so right here, he ain't even looking at the fucking scan. He's not even looking at his scan. And what it looks like to me right here is he's camera locking. Like, who the fuck scans and then doesn't look? What the fuck? Look how much time has gone by where he's just sitting in this fucking area. He doesn't even... Okay, finally looks at the scan. Holy shit. Okay, he looks there. So what is he... So what is this? Is he just, like... Is he just trying to catch these tanks out of position? He just... Okay, so then he decides not to do that. Oh, okay. Come on, dude. Look at this. So he's taking his base over here, right? And then so he's... Obviously, he's panned over here. And then he decides to turn around. And again, with his Hellions, he decides to move all of his Hellions over here. And there just happens to be a dropship here? Like, what the fuck is this? Let's see what he does. What does he ultimately do with these Hellions? Okay, he was panned right over top of the dropship. Obviously. And he didn't want it to look like cheating right there, so he dropped a scan. And then he fucking scans it, whiffing the first scan.
광맥이 고갈되었습니다.
That's such bullshit. He's so bad at covering. He's so bad at hiding cheats, dude. He's so dumb.
동맹이 공격받고 있습니다.
Like, this, what I'm doing, bros, is me breaking this down from a logical perspective. I'm not pulling an Avalo here, dude. This is such obvious map hacking, and this guy is rank 54 GM on the NA server. This guy is cheating, 100%. You can't even argue with this. Like, this is so obvious.
동맹이 공격받고
Of course, another scan. You get the full scans off always. And anyway, the rest of this is probably just Pure Legacy showing how terrible his control is.
동맹이 공격받고 있습니다. 기지가 공격받고
Alright, so now here's another argument to be made, okay? You mean to tell me that a Grandmaster, top 50 Grandmaster player, has the average unspent of a fucking gold? Actually, what did it say? Pure Legacy, workers created 103, structures built 74, income 1961, average unspent resources 745. The spending skill on ggtracker.com, his spending skill is plat. So you mean to tell me that a rank 50 Grandmaster player has 6k resources in his bank, 3.3k gas in his bank, and 146 out of 200 supply, and he's not even producing? No. A top 50 GM player would never, ever, 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 ever do that.
다 쓸어버리겠어.
Guys, for those of you who are coming in to the replay at this point, we've already proven that Pure Legacy is map hacking. It's already proven. He's cheating. Everything else past this point is just whatever. He's cheating. And don't worry, for those of you who come in late, I will go back to it one more time for the YouTube video.
동맹이 공격받고
Anyway, moving along, moving along. Welcome to ProTech land. I mean, the part where Pure Legacy tells his ally to start building mass ravens, like the second BC start coming up, that was funny. That was hilarious. So anyway, this is just a bunch of bullshit I don't care about. But so to end the YouTube video here, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go back to the points where we have proven that Pure Legacy is in fact cheating, and there is no argument to be made. So, he drops a scan, and you'll note on the minimap there is no vision on this side of the map. Nothing. Nothing, 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 nothing.
광맥이 업그레이드 완료. 부속 건물 완성. 부속 업그레이드 완료.
준비 완료.
At 1909 into the replay, he decides that he is going to grab a bunch of his Hellions, and he's going to go up to this location. Randomly. He proceeds to grab his Hellions at 1918, and at this point he is trying to achieve an arc. Because of the unit pathing. And of course, having no vision on this side of the map, not even once having attempted to get on this side of the map, as you can clearly see in the shades. This is what's revealed, this is what is not. This is what you have revealed, this is what you have not. So he has no vision of anything on this side of the map. Yet he deems it necessary to spend a lot of APM controlling his Hellions in this location, trying to create an arc. Frantically, as you can see in his indicator, he is A-moving constantly. Once he feels that he has achieved his arc for the situation at hand, he starts to A-move down this way. He then pans directly into the fog, where the units are, and sets up his attack point at this location when there just happens to be a bunch of Hellions headed in this direction. So, ladies and gentlemen, Pure Legacy is caught. He is a proven map hacker. And share this video to all the StarCraft players who play this game, because we don't need a rank 54 Grandmaster player in the form of Pure Legacy poisoning our waters and ruining our game. Thank you very much, and have a good day. So there you go.